consumers benefit when things are cheap across the board. Now we're all consumers. So will this affect us all? Yes, it'll absolutely affect us all. However, not only are we consumers, we're also employees. We need to earn money if we're going to spend money. We are getting to the point that our ability to purchase items has become very, very inexpensive. It costs us almost nothing to buy products that used to cost us a ton. However, our available money to purchase these products becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. We might be able to go out and buy a flat screen for $100, which makes us feel rich. However, at the end of the month, we can't pay our rent. So what we're dealing with is the cost of products is approaching zero, where the cost of everything else, such as housing and healthcare and insurance and all these necessities, and to some extent food, is going higher and higher to the point that we can't afford those items. We can afford, electronics, but we can't afford a house to put them in. So you can see this a lot in just what we used to spend in furnishing a house. So when I was younger, you had to really save up if you wanted to buy a new electronics or you wanted to buy furniture or anything like that. And you go way back to like the 1950s or 60s when everyone brags about how cheap houses were. Well, that's true. The amount of income you had to have to buy a house was a lot more reasonable. However, the amount of money you had to furnish that house could have been just as much as the cost of that house itself. The amount you would spend for a television or furniture, you're talking thousands of dollars when your mortgage may have only been, $400. So that is a huge diversion from where we used to be. And we're going to have to get used to doing something that was, kind of similar to how things were before. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a change. And hopefully housing and food and insurance is not going to be this huge burden on us, but that means that we're not going to be running out and buying the newest iPhone every time one comes out. That is a trade-off, and I think that is a fair trade-off. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly how things are going to happen. We have to actually do some things right to make that the process that we're going to move into.